If you're over 45 and you feel mostly fine, this video is for you. Because some of the most important changes happening inside your body right now don't arrive with pain. They don't arrive with a diagnosis. They don't arrive with dramatic warning signs. They arrive quietly. A little less energy in the afternoon. A slower recovery after exercise. A waistline that suddenly feels more stubborn than it used to. Waking earlier than you want to. Needing more effort for the same results. Feeling like your body is playing by slightly different rules, but nobody gave you the new rulebook. Nothing dramatic, which is exactly why so many people dismiss these signals. They tell themselves, I'm just tired. I'm just busy. I'll get back on track next week. But biology doesn't wait for next week. Biology is already changing. And the people who understand these changes early tend to age very differently from the people who don't. This is not about fear. This is not about catastrophizing your future. It's about preparation. Because after 45, your body begins transitioning into a new biological phase. Not broken, not failing, changing. And change, when understood, is manageable. Today, we're walking through 7 silent changes.
Change number 1 begins in your muscle. Most people think aging starts with visible signs. Grey hair, wrinkles, joint stiffness. But one of the earliest and most significant changes often happens completely beneath the surface. You slowly begin losing muscle tissue. This process has a clinical name, sarcopenia. And while the word may sound technical, the impact is deeply practical. Research suggests that without intervention, adults can begin losing between 3 and 5% of muscle mass per decade from their 30s onward. And after 45, that process can accelerate. Muscle is not just about appearance or athletic performance. It helps regulate blood sugar, it protects balance and coordination, it supports joint stability, it maintains functional strength for everyday life. And perhaps most importantly, muscle acts as your metabolic infrastructure. It helps your body burn energy efficiently throughout the day, which means when muscle declines, your metabolism often becomes less efficient too. That's one reason many people in their late 40s say something like, I'm eating exactly the same way I always have, but I'm gaining weight. What's changed may not be your discipline or your effort. What's changed may be your body composition. And here's what makes this particularly tricky. You can lose muscle while the number on the scale barely moves. Because fat tissue can quietly replace lean tissue. The total weight stays familiar while the body underneath changes significantly. The action step here is clear. Strength training. Not punishment, not extreme gym culture, not hours of heavy lifting, just consistent resistance. 2 to 3 sessions per week is enough to send the signal your body needs. Body weight exercises at home, resistance bands, dumbbells, whatever format suits your life. The biology simply needs one message. This muscle is still being used. Keep it. Because the body responds to necessity, and preserving muscle after 45 may be the single most powerful healthy aging decision you can make.
The second silent change is hormonal. And this one often feels the most confusing because it shows up as vague, shifting sensations rather than clear symptoms. Less recovery after exertion, different quality of sleep, a shift in motivation or emotional resilience, changes in body composition that don't respond to familiar effort, a slower bounce back after periods of stress. For men, testosterone gradually declines from around the mid-30s onward. By 45, the cumulative effect often becomes more noticeable. For women, hormonal transitions can begin reshaping multiple body systems, years, sometimes a decade before menopause fully arrives. But what many people don't fully appreciate is this. These are not simply reproductive hormones. Testosterone and estrogen influence metabolism, energy regulation, sleep architecture, bone density, brain function, mood and motivation, cardiovascular health. Once those hormonal signaling systems begin shifting, the body...
The third silent change happens in your metabolism. And this is one of the most misunderstood topics in midlife health. People say, my metabolism just crashed. But the truth is more nuanced than that. Yes, things change. Energy production inside cells can become less efficient. Mitochondria, the structures inside your cells responsible for producing energy, may not perform with the same output they once did. Insulin sensitivity can begin shifting, meaning your body may become less efficient at processing glucose from the food you eat. That creates a ripple effect through your whole system. More afternoon fatigue, more food cravings, especially for sugar and refined carbohydrates, easier fat storage, particularly around the abdomen. And because this happens so gradually, people often blame themselves. They assume they're lacking discipline. But they're not lacking discipline. The rules have changed. Action step? Walk after meals. Even 10 minutes significantly helps glucose processing. Build and maintain muscle mass. Reduce dependence on ultra-processed foods that spike and crash your energy. Focus on metabolic consistency rather than dramatic dieting cycles. Because the metabolism after 45 responds best to steady, intelligent daily habits. Not punishment, patterns. The fourth silent change affects your cardiovascular system. And this one matters deeply because it is often completely invisible until it isn't. Arterial walls can gradually stiffen. Blood pressure may slowly creep upward. Circulation can become less efficient. The heart may begin working slightly harder over time to do the same job. Not dramatically, quietly. That's why cardiovascular events can feel sudden, when in reality, the underlying changes may have been building silently for years or even decades. The encouraging truth? Your cardiovascular system is one of the most responsive systems in the entire body. It adapts quickly to positive inputs. Action step? Walk consistently. Aim for 8,000 to 10,000 steps daily if possible. Monitor your blood pressure. Know your numbers. Strength train. Protect sleep quality. Reduce processed food and added sugar. The fundamentals matter enormously here. And if you're over 45 and haven't checked your cardiovascular markers recently, awareness is genuinely one of the smartest forms of prevention available to you.
The fifth silent change happens in your bones. And most people simply don't think about this one until much later, when it becomes a much bigger conversation. But bone is living tissue, dynamic tissue, constantly responsive tissue. After 45, the balance between bone breakdown and bone rebuilding begins to shift. And if your body doesn't receive consistent signals to preserve bone density, strength can gradually and silently decline over years. This matters for both men and women, but it matters especially for women approaching perimenopause and menopause, because the hormonal changes during that transition can accelerate bone loss significantly. Your body is constantly asking one quiet question. Do we still need strong structural support here? And your lifestyle answers that question every single day. Action step? Resistance training. It stimulates bone maintenance directly. Weight-bearing walking. Adequate dietary protein. Vitamin D awareness.
many Australians are deficient without knowing it. And if risk factors exist in your history, have a screening conversation with your GP or clinician sooner rather than later.
The sixth silent change involves sleep. And this one amplifies every single other change on this list. Many people over 45 begin noticing their sleep feels different, lighter, more fragmented, earlier waking with difficulty returning to sleep, less feeling of genuine restoration in the morning. And this matters enormously because poor sleep doesn't just make you tired. It disrupts hormone regulation. It increases appetite, particularly for high-calorie foods. It impairs blood sugar processing. It elevates inflammation markers. It affects mood, memory, and decision-making. It slows physical recovery. Sleep is not simply rest. Sleep is when your body performs its most essential biological maintenance: cellular repair, memory consolidation, hormonal resetting, immune regulation. Action step: protect sleep like critical infrastructure. Reduce screen.
And finally, the seventh silent change happens in your brain. Now here's where I want to offer you something important. Because the story is not simply decline. Yes, some areas of processing can change after 45. Recall speed may feel slightly different. Mental fatigue may appear faster during sustained periods of cognitive stress. Multitasking may feel less effortless. But the brain after 45 is not simply losing capacity. It is changing its strengths. Pattern recognition often improves significantly with age. Judgment improves. Perspective deepens. Emotional regulation strengthens. The ability to synthesize complex information and see the bigger picture, these often peak well into midlife and beyond. Wisdom is a real cognitive asset. And the brain remains remarkably adaptable 45, 55, and beyond. The scientific term is neuroplasticity. The brain's ability to form new connections, learn new skills, and adapt to new demands. That capacity does not simply switch off. Action step: stay mentally engaged. Learn something genuinely new, not just familiar variations of what you already know. Challenge comfortable routines. Stay socially connected. Isolation is one of the most damaging things for brain health at any age.
Now, if you've been noticing a pattern across all 7 of these changes, that's entirely intentional. Because the same core habits keep appearing: resistance training, consistent movement, protein, sleep, stress management, awareness. None of these changes mean your body is broken. None of them mean you're failing. They mean your biology is transitioning into a new phase. And transition is manageable when understood early enough to act. This is where the most important mindset shift happens. The goal after 45 is not pretending you're still 25. The goal is not chasing the body you had 20 years ago. The goal is becoming intelligently adapted to the decade you're actually in. And that changes everything. Because once you stop fighting your biology, you can start working with it. You do not need perfection. You do not need extreme protocols. You do not need complicated supplements or expensive interventions. You need awareness, consistency, movement, recovery,